So the president has issued a fatwa not to burn the Koran in Gainesville, Florida. I almost don't even need notes today, even though we have lots of other stuff to get to besides this pending Koran burning on September the 11th. I could almost do this program with no notes. Now we're hearing that we can't allow this Koran burning to go on, or it shouldn't go on, because of the violent and extremist reactions that might take place around the world. So is that where we are as the United States of America? That we now question our free society and our freedom of speech and free expression based on the possible reactions of others? Is this what we do? We negotiate how we're going to live our lives in the United States of America based on the threat of international reaction, even a violent international reaction? Or is it just Muslim reaction? All of a sudden now, to the American liberal, a book is not just a book. And a building is not just a building. When we deal with the Christian Bible, liberals will tell you it's just another book. It's just a book. In this country that supposedly has this separation of church and state, which it doesn't, in the Constitution, we can't treat the Christian Bible like special. It's just another book. A church is just another building. All of a sudden, these people, for a generation who've been acting as if religious text is just text, religious institutions are just buildings, now all of a sudden they're creating this special category. They're saying, you can't do this. If somebody said, hey, if you open an abortion clinic, extremists might bomb it, do you think the government would say, don't open that abortion clinic? We're hearing all kinds of threats. Don't have that gay pride parade. We're hearing threats. Don't accept interracial marriage. We're hearing threats. We've never, as the United States of America, kowtowed to extremism, internally or externally. We've never said, ooh, we can't let blacks move into white neighborhoods. The Klan might do something. We can't have a gay pride parade. I can't believe this. I can't believe now we have to say this can't happen because of the reaction. If we allow the threat of a reaction to dictate freedom of speech and expression in this country, then from this moment on, international reaction or Islamic reaction, isn't that what they said after 9/11? We can't call off the Super Bowl. We can't stop living our lives. We can't live in fear of terrorism. We have to stay vigilant. That's how we defeat the terrorists. We defeat terrorists by staying vigilant. Well, isn't that what they're always saying about flag burning? We have to accept flag burning. That is the gut check of the freedom of speech, flag burning. Isn't that the gut check liberals are always talking about when we see flag burning in the United States or internationally? These people who are so upset that a pastor, an obscure pastor in Gainesville, Florida, might, and he still might burn a Koran. These people have never once said, maybe we shouldn't burn the American flag. Maybe we shouldn't burn the American president in effigy, no matter who the president is. We shouldn't tolerate the desecration of churches in places like Nigeria and the extreme animosity towards Christianity and Judaism in Saudi Arabia. But we do. The Saudis don't have to allow Christians and Jews to practice openly. As a matter of fact, you can be executed for leaving the Islamic faith for Judaism and Christianity in Saudi Arabia. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. If an atheist group were planning a Bible burning, the ACLU, liberal pundits, college professors would be saying, this is free speech. This is it. This is the tolerance of our society. And they would never tell a group of atheists not to desecrate Christian symbols out of fear that quote-unquote Christian extremists. You know, we were all worried about this Hootery militia in Michigan. If the Hootery militia said that they were going to attack someone because they were putting up an abortion clinic or holding a gay pride rally or burning Christian symbols, the FBI, state police, the NSA would be all over them. I cannot. Is this what American liberalism has become? Is that how gutless you people are? Now all of a sudden you want to bow? I think every one of you liberal women should start wearing a burqa and make fast with the kebab, or else you get the backhand. How about that one? No more teaching women's studies. No more gay pride parades. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. So to burn the Quran is deeply offensive. I thought that was what free speech was. Being able to make a demonstration of the most offensive kind and expect that law-abiding citizens will stand idly by and, although angered, although offended, would have to stand by and allow it to occur because that's what free societies do. Where are the American Muslims who have come to this country for the pluralistic society, the tolerant society, the diverse society? It's not a question of whether or not I think he should do this. I wouldn't do it. My email box was full. Would you do this? Would you do this? No, I wouldn't do this. But because I wouldn't do it, there's lots of things I wouldn't do. There's lots of things you wouldn't do. But because you wouldn't, again, it's like everything else. Simply because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. Now we have this guy's mortgage being called into question. The fire department saying it's not going to issue a permit. I just want everyone to be clear that if we're going to prosecute this man by secondary and tertiary methods, that means anybody that burns something that offends another, that could be the American flag, anything. Can't do it anymore. Can't do it. You liberals are proving to be absolutely gutless. As far as General Petraeus, I think it's funny that the people who called him General Betrayus are the first people to throw his statements in the face of anyone who says, wait a second, all of a sudden now the conservatives are the ones saying this is what free speech is. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. And now we have the imam, the ground zero imam, saying if this mosque isn't built, it's going to inflame the Muslim world. What else do we have to do to not inflame the Muslim world? And what's fascinating, it's only liberals who are saying this stuff, yet none of their own activities and behaviors and beliefs and actions are being called into question. If a radical cleric in Pakistan said, we need to condemn America for homosexuality, are gays going to stop being gay? We don't want to offend the Muslim world. They're deeply offended by homosexuality. We can't tolerate women in the streets unescorted, going to school. We can't have television programs They have offensive material anymore. Why? Because it inflames the Muslim world. And it's a fantasy that this is what brings this stuff on. These people were recruiting in Al-Qaeda long before this pastor in Gainesville. Our society, our nation, our dominance of Christianity numerically as a religion, it's all one big thing. It's gays and Christians together. It's not gays or Christians, it's gays and Christians. It's everything. It's the whole big ball of wax they can't stand. So what are we saying? The police won't protect this man? The FBI won't investigate? The military won't defend our shores anymore? If that's the case, then we've lost. All of these liberals who didn't want the NYPD searching bags in subway stations, who don't want the TSA doing bomb scans, all of these people were saying, if we give up our freedoms, if we give up our liberties, then they won. If this man isn't protected and isn't allowed to do as he wishes with his own private property, then we've lost. This has been building for 9 years. The backers of the Ground Zero Mosque are pretending this is not an act of provocation. Oh, by the way, Sarah Palin's against this. Does that mean you liberals like Sarah Palin? Well, if Sarah Palin's against burning the Koran, we got to burn a Koran. Whatever she's for, we're against. Sarah Palin's come out against it. I guess you liberals should burn a Koran then. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. So ABC News, CNN. Oh, by the way, you know that the military was burning Bibles in Afghanistan that were written for distribution in the local Pashto language? When they weren't accepted, they were burned. Burning Bibles. The United States military was ordered to burn Bibles. I can only imagine how offensive that was to the perhaps Christian soldiers who had to pour gasoline on a pile of Bibles by order and burn them. I cannot believe, though, that the imam is acting as if he couldn't possibly know that anybody would be offended by putting a mosque at Ground Zero. He said, quote, if we move from this location, the story will be that the radicals have taken over the discourse. The headlines in the Muslim world will be that Islam is under attack. I would just like to know when we're going to demand this type of tolerance and sensitivity from the Islamic world. As a matter of fact, it's off base to demand anything of them. While in many cases, we're the ones giving them foreign aid. If I heard President Obama say we're going to cut off foreign aid to any country that allows the American flag to be burned, I would support that. The next time we see a flag burning, an American flag burning in Pakistan, we cut them off. Afghanistan, we cut them off. Indonesia, we cut them off. Cut it off tomorrow. This is extreme to some people. Oh my God, Andrew Wilkow's extreme. Satellite radio's out of control. We got to censor it. Right now, as we speak, the liberals are saying that anything that is offensive to a particular group of people must be censored in order to maintain the freedom of speech. So let's add up. Who are protected from being offended? Not allowed to offend gays anymore? Not allowed to offend immigrants anymore? Not allowed to offend minorities anymore? Not allowed to offend feminists anymore? Can't talk about abortion, but you could burn that American flag. Oh, and you can't offend Muslims, but you could burn that American flag till you're blue in the face, and that's free speech. Gutless. Absolutely gutless. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. So President Obama, have your little fatwa. Why don't you call the pastor and tell him not to do it? Why don't you try to order him not to do it? You're the supreme leader. 1-866-95-PATRIOT.